I bought this Predator generator because it has the lowest dB rating. This one was 57. I paid $800 for it, and the primary reason was the sound. I mean, it says super quiet and lightweight. Lightweight, I don't really think so, but it's super quiet. And let me tell you why it's so important. Because I live here in the heart of Silicon Valley, and we have dense living. So there's my neighbor on the side. There's my neighbor in the back. And here is my neighbor on the other side. So I really can't have a lawnmower running all night long because it'll just aggravate my neighbors with the sound. So that's why I paid a premium for this. Now if I would have bought the next one up, I think it's like a 4,375 watt, and that was for $390. Then there's the 6,500. The 7,000 is about $620. The 9,000 is $700, and of course the 3,500, which I thought was $800. But this is what I need for this particular application. Will it work for the house? Yes, because I'm planning on running 2 refrigerators at about 700 watts, so that puts that 14. I'll run my computer for 800. I put a TV in there for 200, and then I put 4 light bulbs at 100 apiece. One like in the kitchen and bathroom and living room and bedroom, so that puts me at about 2,800, and I'm still within the 3,000 range. I bought this because this year was not a very good summer. We had several fires in the Santa Cruz Mountains. We had fires up in Napa, and PG&E, which is our electric company, has shut the power off in some areas because they said the fire was in the transmission lines, so they had to shut it off. Will they shut it off here in Silicon Valley? I don't know. Probably not, because Google, Facebook, Apple, all these guys are right here. There's the last ones that they're going to shut the power off for. But just in case. Okay, so since this is kind of heavy for me, since there's nobody around, I don't think I'm going to be able to lift this out of the box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it here and see if I can slide it outward. Again, it comes with a set of instructions, starter guide, USB, spark plug, wrench, screwdriver, and I believe these go on the front to charge 12 volts. We get a funnel, and we get a plug. So what I could do is I can use this box for storage, because it's not like I'm going to be using this all that much. That's the wheel lock. Alright, so it says before you use this, use stabilizer in your gas. So you'll have to go like to one of your auto parts supply places and get some stabilizer so you can mix it with your gas when you put it in here. So what I did is I took the generator out of the box and I put it on this cement bench because I make it easier for me to go through all this versus it sitting on the ground. But here's your basic control panel. You'll have parallel outlets in case you want to run two of these together. Here's your connection in case you wanted to hook this up to your RV. It's ready to go. Here's the 220 volt AC outlets where you just plug right in. Here's the reset buttons. Here is DC 12 volts as a reset button. Here's your control panel. It tells you the output and then overload, load oil, and this is the economy switch here. Here's a starter, and here's your control. It says off, run, and start. Here's your battery. We will take that out and connect it. This is your little switch to lock the wheels. On the other side, we have a pull starter. And then on the back, we have the spark arrestor. And how would you clean this is by taking off 3 on each side screws, and then there's 2 screws on each side, and this just pulls out. And we'll do that later on. On the other side is where you fill the oil and check the oil. Here's where you put your gasoline, and here's a gas gauge. And it's nice that they left the instructions right on the top to make it easier when you want to start this. So that is basically the entire whole unit. Alright, the most important thing is make sure there's oil in this. So here is basically where you check and fill. There you go. And we can see there's a dipstick, and right below there is the drain plug. But being that this is the first time that I'm running this, I want to take a look what's behind here. And there's just 2 pop outs, one here, then these lips, so it just push it in, pop it back in. So let's just take a little closer look at this. Now that we have the cover on, here's where you check the oil, here's where you drain the oil, here's your spark plug, here's your air filter. There's a little latch on the bottom. Move this out of the way, pull out your air filter. Okay, so that looks nice and clean. It should be, since it's brand new. So we'll put that back in there. Push the little tab up on top, and then it has a little clip on the bottom. And there you go. That's all there is to taking the air filter out. So before we put any oil in, I want to look at the manual. I come over here where it says specifications, and then I look down where it says engine oil. It says 10 W30 20 ounces. So I'm using Chevron Supreme, alright, 1030, and what happens is, if you look at the side marker, I drained out some of the oil so that it would be at the 20 ounce mark. So I'm just going to pour all this right in. Okay, with the cover off to make it real easy, since this is the first time, there is your plug where you put it in. It says high and low. They were nice enough to give us a little funnel to make it easier. So I'm just going to Slowly pour it in. Alright, so we have about 20 ounces in here, and we'll just wait for a few seconds for it to all go in. Okay, so 20 ounces is full. Looks like it's just a touch too much. We'll put our oil checking stick here. Okay, so 20 ounces was just a touch too much. Just clean that off a little bit. Check our dipstick, make sure it's tight. Alright, we have the oil in full. We check the filter. Here's a spark plug. So let's just put the cover on. Once again, it just connects in here. Little slot. They have these little push clips. Screws. It's got two little notches it goes into. And there we go. Alright, let's take a look at the battery. Okay. So it comes with the screws. Okay, positive and negative. Put the nut down here in a rectangle. So it just fits right in there so nicely. Move the cable back so it's out of the way. Tighten that one. Put the shield back over the top of it. Now we'll just do the negative. Come in. Okay, there. Do the same thing. Put in a rectangle nut. Just get it to line up. There we go. Put the washers on there. Okay, there's the battery. Okay. Battery back in there. Put the clamp on. Battery's in there. Put the cover back. Got two notches here. Takes care of the battery. So I took it off the bench because it just made it easier for me to work on. I put the brake on. I have a nice stable location. Okay, I have the economy switch off. Now I just have to put some gasoline in here. And what I'm going to do is put a half a gallon of gasoline. I'm not going to put stabilizer in it because I'm not going to put it away. They say you're supposed to put stabilizer in it. And that's basically for storage because the gas is so crappy these days that it just deteriorates. But later on in time, when I store this thing, I will put stabilizer in it. In fact, I will probably, since it's going to be stored for a longer period of time, I will probably drain the carburetor so there's no gas in the carburetor no matter what. And I have one of these Predator engines on my rototiller, and it starts fantastic. It runs great. I don't have any problems. So I'm just going to add a half a gallon, and it says it runs for like 11 hours on 2.5 gallons. So since this is a break-in period, and they say it's like 30 hours to break it in, I'd like to run it for several hours today and just see how it works. Then after I get it running, I have a grinder, I'll show you that, and I'm going to plug it in, but they said to let it run and stabilize for about 5 minutes before you start drawing power. So let's just start with putting some gas in here. See, it comes with a filter. Yep, and there's gas in there. Okay, that's all set. We have oil, we have gas. Alright, so now we will start. I'm going to wait a minute, let the gas in the tank seep down into the carburetor. So it's been a few minutes. So what I'm going to do, since this thing has not been started, I'm just going to pull it a little bit here so that the oil from the engine, from the engine oil, gets to lubricate some of the parts before it starts up. Okay, so that's 3 or 4 pulls. Alright, so to start this thing, and they have the instructions right on top, which is fantastic. So you set the economy switch to off, and then you go to run, and you go to the start switch. Now I could just cheat and hit the electric starter, but I don't want to do that. I want to see if it starts, how hard it starts with just pulling it, so that in case the battery does ever die, I won't have a problem. So let's see what happens. That was pretty easy. My electric lawnmower makes more noise than this thing. Okay, it's been running for 7 minutes. Now I want to test it. What I'm going to do, says 124 volts. So how many watts are putting out? 35 hours. Here's minutes. So I'm just going to let this run for a little while. This is my break-in period. I'm running the grinder just so I have some draw, and I'm up to about 2 hours a time. Alright, I put this back up here on this concrete bench just for this video, but if you can't lift it yourself, there's handles on each side so you can get someone else to help you lift it up here, or lift it wherever you want, or move it around. It moves pretty easy as long as you have the brake off. It moves. There's nothing to it. Put the brake on and it's fairly stable. It won't go anywhere. Okay, so I put about a half a gallon of gas in this so I could break it in, because I wanted to totally run it out of gas, so I didn't want to leave any gas in here. But I forgot to look at the hours, how many hours I ran this. I think I got about 4 hours in there, maybe a little bit more. But I did test it, inside the house so I could make sure I had enough power. I didn't realize it had a 120 plug. I thought this was a 220, because if it was 220 I would have put it right into my electrical panel, but you know, live and learn. So I have the two 120 outlets here. So what I did is I ran two extension cords, and I have two refrigerators in my home. So I plugged one into one refrigerator, one into the other, and then I also ran splitters off to the side. So I hooked my TV and got that running. To suck power, I had a fan. I put several lights, and it still did not use up the full 3,000. So for my application here, this will work 100% if the power goes out. I won't even use the whole thing. So like I say, I put a little gas in here. Now what I'm going to do is just take out the filter. And then I will look right in the gas tank itself. And I know you won't be able to see it, but it is totally empty. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, let me put this back on here so no dirt goes in there. Let me take the cover off. I mean, I can come over here. What I want to do is change the oil now that it has run for a while. But why do I want to struggle trying to get in here when two screws pops this whole cover right off, and then I have perfect access to the filter here. This little screwdriver to pry it up. See, so it has. So to make this easier for me, to make this movie, I have the generator on the bench, and I put these 4x4s under here so I have clearance so I can work. So I put a piece of newspaper, I have a pan, and remember I was telling you that I ran it all the way out of gas because I don't want to store it, because if I store it with gas, then I have to put that fuel stabilizer in and mix it with the gas. And I have no intention of using this constantly. So what I'm going to do, I want to drain the gas totally, completely. Okay, if you look at the side of the generator, here is the air filter, and here is the little bowl for the carburetor. So what I normally do is I always have a little bowl right there. If you take that out, then you drain the gas out of the carburetor, and you never have to worry about it. Okay, so what I noticed here is these guys did us a wonderful favor. So they have this little valve here with this plastic tube going to it, and that happens to go to the carburetor. So we just move this back a little bit. Now you can see the hose on the bottom, and so what we will do, we will open this up and let the little bit of gas that's left in there come out. And you notice it's got a couple drops, but that's it. So it is empty. And here it is right here. So just put that right back up there and tighten it up, and now you know all the gas is drained from the tank and from the carburetor. So now it's perfectly safe to store without fuel stabilizer. So my preference is to drain all the gas versus putting fuel stabilizer in the generator, because the next time I use it, I will just put fresh gas in there, and then when I'm done, I will either run it out or I will drain it out for storage. So the next thing I want to do is check the oil and drain the oil and change it. So let me just pull out the dipstick here, and you'll see that it's full because it's coming right out. So I'll put that back on here. And here is the drain plug. But we have another thing here, and that is, the other thing before I do the drain, there is a little trap door here on the bottom. Just a little plastic door. Open that up. And that'll allow the oil to come into the pan. If you look at the manual, there's a little door. Of course, we took the whole door off. Here's your little drain plug that allows the oil to drain out of here. Alright, so I have my newspaper down so it doesn't make a mess. I have a little pan to catch it. This happens to be a number 10 socket. So I'll just loosen this so that it'll allow air to go in there. Okay, there's our drain plug. And as you can see, the oil is coming out of the hole, going right through that other little slot that we opened and into the pan that we have to catch the oil. And you'll see the drain plug has a little washer on it, number 10. Now some people buy a special dipstick that has a little, it's magnetic, so it catches all the little particles from the engine, but I usually don't. So we'll just allow the oil to drain out, and you can see it coming right down into the pan. So let's just look at the oil that we drained out. It's dark, not too bad. So let me get rid of some of this. And I wanted to look at how many particles are in the oil that's left, and it looks like there's hardly any. Okay, the oil has stopped, so I'll just put the drain plug in. Remember, be careful, this is aluminum. You cross the threads, kiss this goodbye. Just tighten that up a little bit. Wipe it all down. And that was nice of them to give us one of these little spouts. And it's about 20 ounces of 1030. Give it a chance to get down in there. Okay, let's just look and see where we are. You can see the oil's right here. So, full. Alright, let me wipe this down and tighten this up. Okay, so that's our oil change. Let me remove this pan, and then I want to wipe the bottom of the case. And then also this little trap door on the bottom. So you can see it right here where my finger goes. And then on the bottom, which is dangling, just squeeze it right in there. Like that. So here it is. That means if it does leak oil, it won't leak all over the place. they'll just stay in that little area. So that takes care of changing the oil. So now that we changed the oil, drained all the gas out of the carburetor, it's safe to put it away. So I'll put the cover back on. Here's the 3 clips, or little hinges. They just fall right in there. Remember, this goes here, this there. Just up a little bit. Just pop these right in. 2 screws. There's one. And there's the other. And then we put this back on. Of course, now you see why. I just take off the whole cover because I want full access. It makes it so much easier. I mean, I guess if you're in a field and you don't have a screwdriver or whatever, you can take this cover off to check the oil. So I turn this thing around so that I have light for the sun, because I want to, now that we have let this thing run for about 4 hours, let's look at the spark arrestor. So last one. See, so it works the same way. It has little hinge clips right here, 3 of them. Okay, the spark arrestor, that's number 8. Number 1 and number 2. And here's the little wire mesh here. Of course, it's all clean because it's only been running for a couple hours. And here's this, has absolutely no carbon or anything on it. See, no carbon on it whatsoever. You can see right through the whole screen. So it just hasn't been run long enough. But what I will do is, when I get done using this for long periods of time, I will take this off and inspect it and clean it. And you can probably clean that with a wire brush or wash it off with a little gasoline and air dry it. Now remember, don't over tighten these. You don't have to get crazy. Like that. Now just put the back cover on again. Got 3 little clips, 1, 2, 3 little hinges. So this is a wonderful generator for myself. The main thing is it is so quiet. So, and it has electric start. Of course, it's not going to start because there's no gas in it. And it also has a full start. And I have full started it, and it starts real easy. So we ran this. We broke this in for several hours. I ran it out of gas, and I emptied it out of gas. I changed the oil. Looked at the spark arrestor. The battery is okay, and then I'm just going to store this for whenever I need it. Now that it's all ready to go. So the only thing I need to do is just put gas in it, and it'll start right up. But like I say, the most important thing is that it is so quiet. It's just impressive. So I don't plan on using it that often. So I saved the original box. I'll put this piece of foam on here. There's the connector. There's the connectors here. There's a little bag of tools. And instructions. You just slide it right in. Put the manual in here. Put the ball on the side. Get a little duct tape. There, seal it right up. Ready to go. Now, if I want to move it, take my hand truck. There we go. That way I can stack it any place I like to in the original cart.